So this is a system, Ayurveda, which I use for my own health. It's my go-to system of health for myself. Ayurveda is the science of life, and it teaches you how to age gracefully and slowly, our modern lifestyle, it's accelerating the pace of aging because we're rushing too much. We live at it's a very fast-paced way of living. And so this is what this talk is going to be about. It's just to help you assess your health and give you, in a nutshell, just a frame of reference for addressing your health issues. So before I give away any more, I think I'll go on to the next slide. So we'll just go through the agenda for this morning. So I'll give you a little bit of an introduction about Ayurveda. And then we'll talk about the definition of health according to this system. And then I'll introduce the framework of health, which is these 5 pillars and where they come from. And we'll discuss today's health climate. And then in that context, we'll talk about the 5 pillars of health and how we can address our health issues through this system. After that, we'll have a Q&A session. And I hope, you please, feel free to come up with any questions. We can have a nice discussion. So Ayurveda, it's a Sanskrit word, and Sanskrit, if you all know, it's the oldest language on this planet. So it's a very ancient language, and when we break down the word, Ayur means life, and Veda means science. You can be anywhere in the world, but if the home you live in is healthy and well, and you look after your mind properly, you experience the whole world in a much more positive way. So the reason for being here is how do we look after this body that we live in? So there are ether. Ether means space. You need space for everything to exist, right? First, there needs to be space for things to exist. Then you have air, which is the next element. We can't survive without air, right? If we can survive without water for maybe, I think it's a few days. We become more and more dehydrated, and then we can die if we don't get water. But air, it's within a matter of minutes, I think, we can die if we don't have air. And then we have fire. Fire, without the sun represents fire. And without the sun, there'd be no life on this planet. The next one is water. We can't survive without water, right? All life forms on Earth need water to survive. So water, and then earth. Earth is the manifestation of everything we see. So, and earth gives us food. Earth sustains us. So these are the 5 elements. Now, TCM, which is traditional Chinese medicine, is the other oldest system that we know on this planet. So Ayurveda and TCM are the 2 systems that are still, they're ancient systems of medicine, and they are still very much practiced in today's world. We are made of the 5 elements, and depending on the proportion, we will have a certain body type. So now, just for this presentation, I'm keeping it very simple. So if you have more ether and air in your constitution, then you will tend to have that sort of body type, a Vata body type, which is more slender. It could be tall and thin, but narrower. You can see the shoulders are narrow, the hips are narrow. That if you have more of that in your constitution, we have all 5, but if you're predominantly those 2, you will have more of that body type. So, you can see, your body shape. You can see whether you are more, have you got more ether and air in your makeup. If you're somewhere in the middle, then you have more fire and water in your constitution. So with someone like me, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not very tall and thin, and I'm not very stout either. I'm not sturdy and stocky in my build either. So I'm somewhere in the middle. So each of you if you can just see where you fit in, then you know that, okay, I have more ether and air in my constitution, or I have more water and earth. If I've got a more sturdy frame, broader shoulders, my calf muscles are stout. If your calf muscles are skinny and long like mine, then you're more that side. If you're more, very, very stout muscles, you are here. But if you're somewhere in the middle, then you'll be there. So things like your musculature, your bone structure, things that don't change is what you can look at. So even if you look at your wrists and your ankles and just how visible your bones are, if they're quite covered up, that would mean you are more here. If they're very prominent and they stick out, if your veins stick out a lot, you are more there. Okay, so now the definition of health according to Ayurveda is that you have a balanced constitution. So the constitution you are born with, if you maintain those levels of the 5 elements in your system according to your birth levels, you will tend to experience good health. So if you have a balanced constitution as per your body type, your Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and it's not just that you are clear-cut Vata, clear-cut Pitta, clear-cut Kapha. There's a combination, okay? So there's all sorts of permutations. People are come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and with all sorts of characteristics. So it's usually that mostly we are a combination. Like I am Pitta Vata. I'm a combination of both. Okay. So mentally, I am quite Pitta. I'm a perfectionist. I'm detailed. I've got more fire in my system. So that's like if I had more earth and water, then I would be naturally more calm. I would handle a situation like this in a very calm sort of way. So those are the 7 tissues in the body, and all have to be healthy. The 5 senses need to be functioning well. Digestion and absorption should be at par. So gut health in this system is the foundation of health. So what you put into your system, it must be digested well, it must be absorbed. You need to have proper elimination of wastes. You should have the stamina to withstand a little bit of strain. So if you go hungry or you're thirsty or you're feeling very hot or cold or whatever, that shouldn't bother you too much. You should be able to withstand that. You should feel healthy in your body. Your mind should be happy, and then content soul. So we are not just the body. Inside the body, there's spirit. So this framework of health, it's not just a made-up framework. It comes from this ancient system. So in the ancient texts, which are like thousands of years old, the oldest body of knowledge that we have is this Ayurveda, and it's actually written down. There's a whole volume of text called the Charak Samhita. So this knowledge is in those books, and in those books they only mention 3 pillars. They mention nutrition, rest, and relationship as the 3 pillars of health. They didn't have to mention exercise and work, because in ancient times we didn't have to go to the gym. We didn't have to go for a special yoga class or Zumba class or Pilates class or anything like that. We just moved our bodies. So we have to address all these 5 pillars of health to experience holistic health of body, mind, and soul. I think if you look at it, nutrition, rest, relationship, exercise, work. Nutrition, we're not eating we're eating very processed food. We walk into the supermarket and just about everything is in a packet or a can or a box. Only the fresh vegetable section, and then maybe the dairy section. There's 2 sections where food is more like the way it's meant to be. You become what you eat because it's a process. You're eating all the time. Every meal you eat is contributing to your health and your tissues. So I'll go through how you should eat, and so what should you eat? You should eat seasonal food. So whatever's available in the season is what you should eat. I'm not sure what it's like here, but in Western countries, like you get watermelon, which is a summer fruit, you get it throughout the year. And it's not appropriate to eat throughout the year because it's a very cooling fruit. So in Melbourne, which is quite cold for, as much as you have summer here in Botswana, the length of time you have summer, we have cold weather over there. Now it's not severely cold, but it's cold. Nature is providing the foods that are going to support your immune system now. So citrus fruits are slowly going to become available. So if you eat citrus fruits, your immune system will be strong because it's vitamin C. But I want to warn you about citrus fruit is people think that if they're sick, they should be having orange juice or oranges or whatever. According to this system, that's the wrong thing to do. So citrus fruits will prevent the problem, but once you have a problem, once you've got a cold or whatever, and you continue to eat fruits and juicy fruits, it'll make more mucus. So this system, there's no other system that understands nutrition quite as well as this system. Hydration in this country, extremely important. That you hydrate well, that you drink when you're thirsty, and I think here you should be thirsty all the time, I think, because it's so hot and dry here. So don't drink water just before your meal or with your meal, because what that does is puts water on the fire in your belly. So it weakens the fire. So always have your beverages or your drinks away from food, and particularly water. Have warm water or room temperature water in summer. In winter, always warm your water. Then you are supporting your digestive fire. The rest pillar, it's going to be disturbed by what you ate the night before. If you ate a really heavy meal and then you sit in front of the TV and you're just sort of passing out, you're falling asleep in front of the TV, you've eaten this heavy meal, and then you sleep on that, you're not going to sleep well. Because what happens is the liver, everything you eat is processed by the liver. And at nighttime, the liver is very busy. The liver has a lot of functions. It's doing a lot of detoxification. Now, if you give it a heavy meal to digest, you're interfering with its detoxification function. So, you can't be eating your main meal, a rice meal or something like that, at 10 o'clock at night. And I tell them, I didn't grow up like this. I did not eat like this. This is the wrong way to eat. And you have to manage your day so that you do your gymming at a reasonable hour so that you eat on time. You can't mess around with it. You can't just think, it's just a meal and I can eat whenever I feel like. You need to wake up early, you need to wake up feeling refreshed, and you need to feel like you've got energy for the day, not groggy, stiff, sluggish. Rest is not just sleep. Rest is, even on a daily basis, unwind. At the end of the day, unwind. Don't just go to sleep with all this, your brain still, too active. So every day you should unwind. In the weekends also make sure you are relaxed in the weekend. You're making time for relaxation. Relationship is life. We can't function without relationship. It's the foundation of life. And so the first relationship is with yourself. And how do you look after yourself? How do you care for yourself? So self-care, meditation, some yoga. According to Ayurveda, we do oil massage. So I think in your climate, if you're interested in starting to do oil massage because your skin gets very dry here, we have trillions of bacteria in our body, and they keep us healthy. So when we have more of the friendly bacteria, we experience health. When the unfriendly bacteria is getting the upper hand, that's when we're getting sick. So it's good for your nutrition as well. It's better for detoxifying your system if you're moving your body, because the lymphatic system is the body's detoxification system, and the lymphatic system does not have a pump. The circulatory system, the heart is the pump. Even when we're sleeping, the heart is still pumping. So, it's exercise is not just a few times a week, it's every day. Particularly as we are getting older, we need to move our bodies every day. In Botswana, try to avoid the hot sun. Try to walk in the mornings, in the evenings. Don't walk in the midday, because that's going to cause a lot of pitta imbalance, because the heat will go up in the body unnecessarily. Have variety of exercise. So you've got to do not just walking. If you do walking, then also do something else as well, like some stretches. Also try to maintain integrity at work. So avoid office politics. Avoid gossip. Avoid social climbing. Elevate yourself to your highest level, and always be your best at work as well, in how you interact with the people around you. The mind is not meant to multitask. The mind can only focus on one thing at a time. When you think you're multitasking, you're actually keep switching your energy from one task to another, and that's tiring for the mind. That aggravates vata, the air and ether elements in the body. So it's very tiring, and then at the end of the day, you'll feel very tired. So if you can try to focus on one task at a time. So your challenge for this pillar is stop for a proper lunch break. Don't eat and work at the same time. Respect your digestive fire, your nervous system, and connect the two, and tell your nervous system should get the message that I need to digest this food, so I'm going to focus on this food. Move throughout the day, don't sit continuously. Stand, stretch, climb. Okay, we've talked about that. And sit up straight. Practice the 20-20-20 rule. So that rule is every 20 minutes, You want to focus on something that's 20 meters away for 20 seconds.
It was quite enlightening. And I'm glad that I'm here with my husband. And as we were talking, we were actually ticking the boxes and checking what's wrong that we're doing. And it's sort of a reflection time. You think about what you're doing in your life and how you actually impact your health with what you do each and every day.
I just wanted to find out how this is going to be, how the organizations or the group here are going to be familiarized even more.
We just need to go back to the way we used to be as much as possible. Still, of course, we still have to function in this modern world, but there are little things we can do which we have to change the pattern of how we behave. Even just our young people, university age kids, waking up like 11 in the morning, 10 in the morning. It's not right. Their circadian rhythm is already off because they're not waking up with the sun. They're sleeping at 2 in the morning. Circadian rhythm is off. And then we have got an epidemic of, forget COVID, but it's just mental health issues. The mental health of young people is very poor these days. They feel everything keenly. They're facing a world which is so troubled.
It makes more sense, and it's nice to hear it being said by someone who is not a medical doctor, So people tend to only listen to doctors when they're sick, but the prevention message is really important. As for me, I'm specializing in public health because I believe that we need to preach prevention here in Botswana. You realize that nowadays non-communicable diseases are increasing. Your diabetes, your hypertension, your strokes, and a lot of young people are also already suffering from this. From my clinical practices, people as young as in their 20s, 30s, 40s, are being diagnosed with hypertension or high blood pressure. Why is that so? It is because of the ways of life that we are choosing now.
So I think it's the behaviors that we have accustomed to that we need to go back at individual level and assess and correct.
The experience that I've had, the difficulties that I've gone through, and no life is without difficulties. Anybody's voyage is going to have these interruptions during their journey. But I would like to pass on my experiences, and that's why I do inspirational speaking, and these two young ladies are very helpful in organizing these lectures for me. So thanks once again, Lillian. Give her a hand, please. And to Sarah. And thank you very much, Gita. You've done an excellent job, and you are a good speaker. And thank you all for accepting the invitation, responding, and I hope that you've benefited. It seems from the questions that we heard and from the little bit of dialogue that we've had that you have enjoyed. So give yourself a hand, please.
We've just completed a session on the 5 pillars of health, which is based on the Ayurvedic concept of health and the 5 pillars which we need to address to experience holistic health. And we've just had a wonderful audience here today of people from such varying backgrounds, social workers and people from public health. We've had a doctor, we've had people from the business community, and the questions were just fantastic, and it shows me that people were really taking in the information. And it's a simple framework that I've given people, and I'm really so pleased that it's gone down well, and people will be able to take this forward into their personal lives, into their families' lives, and into their sphere of influence. And I think this is a great way to just, it's really an honor to bring Ayurveda to Botswana in this way through Lillian and through Sarah, people who are very influential here and have a wide network of people. So Yeah, this is the beginning of, and I think I'm looking forward to doing more of this kind of work with Lillian to spread this knowledge. So it's been a fantastic session today.